So sometimes the signs we're waiting for. The universe will poke you, slap you, throw you against the wall. Oh my God, I love this. Your favorite color as a child.
This is what this person told this person in their dream. How could someone be communicating to me through somebody else's dream state?
That's the thing. Who is it intimidating to? Welcome to the 4th episode of Street Coaching, where we proactively go up to young men and help them with their self-confidence and emotions. Today, we're in the beautiful Prospect Park over here in Brooklyn, New York City. Let's go, Street Coach. I'm thinking this guy sitting down here, it looks like we could have a great conversation with him. We are locking in, baby. Woo! 50-50. Will he say yes or will he say no? Hey, man, you got 2 minutes for a conversation? No? Okay.
Yeah,
No? Okay, it's okay. Have an amazing day.
Alright, sorry, no, nothing.
No?
It's okay.
All right. So first of all, I'm gonna sit down next to you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm Michael, by the way. Andrew? I think you're gonna play something for us today.
Sure.
The first question I want to ask you is, do you have any intentions to, if you're not already, go pro, I guess you could say, with playing music?
Pro.
Like make a living off of it.
It's hard for me to think about monetizing things like that. If anything, sharing it would really be cool, and putting it out on some platforms, or just being creative and letting people see it and share it. And kind of the gesture of sharing is a cool thought to me, but it's kind of hard to take like a passion and gift, and in my brain at least, think about putting it out there and trying to draw like revenue from it.
Okay.
I don't really have like an entrepreneurial mind in that sense,
Okay.
For better or for worse.
Other than when he's here, I film everything on my phone. I have this little microphone. I have a tripod for my iPhone. Dude, if you want to like hit me up and we can like I live right down there, set up the tripod, give you the mic, put it like right on here. It's magnetic. Play some stuff, just upload it to YouTube, and just if it happens to get monetized, great. If it doesn't, you were doing it anyways.
Yeah, it's something that I've been lacking, is like contributing to the world or the virtual world in any meaningful way. I've thought a lot about people that self-publish, people that put their artwork and their music out there, or even just people that are of the mind to do things like, drop shipping and things, and being of the mind to be constructive in that fashion. And it's something that I've kind of always lacked. I'm always mostly just kind of like in a more of an isolated fashion, like reading, writing.
Do you think there's any fear-based perceptions that are getting in the way of, as you said, contributing or constructively sharing virtually or physically with society for you?
Yeah, I think that's a general theme in general. Like,
How is it for you?
the world is usually kind of trying to call people forth to share themselves and be creative. Stepping up to the plate on that is kind of intimidating sometimes, or just getting an idea of where to start or how to start, or what to share and why. It's kind of, like putting yourself out there is kind of, harsh. Like for instance, like I have a really hard time like public speaking and speaking in general and like orating. So sometimes I push myself to put myself in the setting of like a Toastmasters meeting or something like that,
Okay.
and which is extremely like uncomfortable for me. So I feel like that would be one gesture where you're kind of like putting yourself out there and sharing and putting, leaning into some friction. But doing that on a regular basis is pretty hard. Sharing that with people is quite difficult for me. When it comes naturally to other people, I'm like envious, that they can just do that.
There's a perspective I have that I want to share with you if you're open to it.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So the way I see fear is like a brick wall, and you have two options. It can either be in front of you or behind you. One way it's holding you back, the other way it's pushing you forward. And so how to use fear to push yourself, not even push yourself out there, but to pull yourself out there, is I have, like speaking from experience, made a public commitment to, you could call it my audience, people who know me, friends even. I feel afraid of not following through with my word rather than putting myself out there. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like I'm using fear to throw my ass forward.
So there's like accountability aspect of it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and you're being of service also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's another story I want to tell you, which is you said something along the lines of like getting started, not having an idea. Have you ever heard the story of, there's not really a name for it, of just like the person in the river? Okay. So a person in the river is kind of floundering and sort of drowning. And they ask God, like, God, come save me. And God's like, okay. And so a stranger comes by and is like, oh my God, you're drowning, let me help you. And the person's like, no, no, no. I asked God, God will come save me. 10 minutes later, they're still drowning. A second stranger comes by and is like, oh my God, stranger, like, let me throw you a life raft. And they're like, no, 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 God's gonna come help me. The person drowns, gets to heaven, and is like, God, you didn't help me. And God's like, you moron, I sent you 2 people to help you. So sometimes the signs we're waiting for, or the ideas we think we lack, are already here in essence. And we're just so set in our ways of like, it has to be given to me this way. It has to look this way. And it's not true. I've seen that when I'm like, it has to come this way, it's just me feeling afraid of either being wrong or actually of receiving it and putting myself out there. Like, I truly did not want to receive it because I still didn't want to put myself out there. The idea maybe you've been waiting for is just to set up a little, you don't even need to ever speak to me again. Set up a little tripod, get yourself a $20 mic off of Amazon if you can afford it, and just play your guitar in public.
I actually just got myself back into New York City like a couple months ago, and just playing outside has actually been extremely fruitful in general. Kids are always transfixed by it, and it's just really funny, and it's very like fulfilling in that way. People are always, like inviting me to jams and stuff, and then I wind up playing with 4 or 5 people, and it's just like magical, and it's just like, why don't I do this more often?
That's what I want to uncover right now. Yeah. Let's imagine a scenario. 30 days in a row, you're either busking or playing at open mics, or like, I know shredding is not the appropriate word for an acoustic guitar. Maybe you are a shredder, maybe. Let's say you're shredding in public for 30 days, like just sitting out here attracting everyone. You're at an open mic, like you're really going in, you're in your vibe, you're in your element, you're busking as well. 30 days straight. 2 questions. A, can you see yourself doing that? And B, either way, if you can or you can't, what is the first thought or fear that pops up about you doing that? Are people going to judge you? Is no one going to show up? Are people going to just kind of ignore you? What comes up?
I mean, you just happen to touch on the one thing I really just don't mind doing. So
Okay.
I just don't know. And for all the things that I'm insecure about, for some reason, I just don't think about it. Like, just probably the one thing in my life that I just don't hesitate to, I'm not worried about being like intrusive on people's space. I think, somehow I just feel like I'm complimenting the environment somehow.
You are.
Which is like not something that comes up in other endeavors of mine. I'm usually kind of bogged down by some insecurity or something.
What are those? Just 2 or 3 of them.
This is kind of a binary view, but I feel like in my life it just kind of ebbs and flows out of like 2 types of, versions of myself, where on one hand I can be kind of under the security under the security blanket, so to speak, and kind of therefore be withdrawing myself from the overall party that's going on and feel like I'm kind of excluded from it, or kind of on the outside looking in. And really then it's just a choice to, I think, have like behavioral and energetic and spiritual factors kind of kick into gear that kind of tells you, oh, like I actually do have permission to sit down at the proverbial table here. Like,
Have you ever heard the quote, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness?
Yeah. I think like redemption is possible. Whatever, like, I think about this all the time. There's like some feedback loop about the, story I've told myself about myself.
It's so self-reinforcing. Yeah.
Yeah, so if there's just this general feeling of like kind of narcissistic, like I don't fit in or where do I belong kind of complex that I have, I try to at least know that I can combat that with like, you're just not joining the party because you got some shit going on, dude. Like, you just need to. It might sound overly oversimplified, but really you just gotta like get certain things in the back seat and get the appropriate things in the driver's seat, so to speak, and get that shit figured out.
You have a lot of visual metaphors. It's something I've noticed. I like it. I heard this from my own mentor the other day, and I want to share it with you. Imagine you have a wall, like both sides around you, and like you take your fist and you, not super hard, but like you kind of like brush up against the wall. You're not supposed to touch the wall. That's kind of the underlying premise. You're supposed to be on like this upward spiral, you could call it. And so it's like, just go up, don't touch a wall. It's going to slow you down. So the wall is spikes. So if you touch the wall, it's going to hurt and you're going to get bloody knuckles. It's not going to be a fun time. Like, probably everyone touches a wall once and then they learn, don't touch a wall, okay? That is also true with your emotions and your thoughts. When you have a thought that doesn't serve you and you believe it, you're going to feel an inner contraction. You're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel ashamed. You're going to feel guilty. That is the same thing as you're punching the wall and bleeding, except you're bleeding emotionally. So anxiety, shame, guilt. And so I use that for whenever I have a thought that doesn't serve me and I feel that feeling, I'm like, oh, Michael is just punching the wall again for no reason. We do it because we feel afraid of our own power. And ultimately, we just feel afraid that if we really put ourselves out there, we're going to be unloved, because that is ultimately not conforming. And we know and we feel as a deep collective that almost everyone, and really everyone, including myself here, is conforming on some level. And so I think we just feel afraid to we think that we're going to be unloved.
Yeah,
and that's why we also admire so deeply the people who really do that, because we know beyond that fear that that is actually who we are. We're supposed to be super different than each other. And most of us don't choose that. And I think you're really being given this opportunity to really step in to the different, you could call it higher, better, stronger, even more courageous version of you.
Well, the thing is that ascension and growth is quite scary, and wellness behavior is very difficult sometimes. Sometimes wellness is foreign, especially if you get into a certain habit pattern, and addictions and facets of that, part of the mind, it can really stifle that growth and that energetic growth. And it can be intimidating. And at my vantage point in life now, I can look back and see times where I've cultivated it and let it grow and really nurtured it and harbored it, and other times where I've just completely stifled it and threw it away completely and broke it down. But it also seems to be a part of a 3 steps forward, 2 steps back kind of thing. But even where I am now, it's yet another chapter of being at the beginning of having to think what are the parameters that really keep me in my lane? But the truth is that really stepping into that is kind of scary. And I am also partially tending to think about this on a chakra level.
So you are spiritual.
When
okay,
that,
go ahead.
Just,
I have something to ask you after this. I'm happy you said
well,
that.
it is
Go
quite
ahead.
I think about it sometimes in binary terms. I could be through hiking and have a lot of behavioral things in order and out in the woods and on some trek and traveling or settled where I'm living and running and really getting into my fitness and getting into just a lot of different things. Alternatively, I can be in a mode where I'm just trashing all of that and just being really sabotagey and fucking myself up really badly.
There we go. You said the word.
So I've
Yep.
done both of those things together at different times, and so it really just begs the question, stepping into choosing what works for me. And I think I'm just getting old enough now where the FOMO is falling by the wayside, and I really get to ask myself what do I really want to do on a daily, weekly, quarterly basis to ditch the sabotagey stuff and move upwards. I'm still beating my head against the wall, but I'm learning that it's I don't need to do that, so.
I have this visual in my head of you, and it's actually kind of hilariously sad, but do you know what the root of yes or no, do you know what the root of self-sabotage is?
What is it? It's a classically known
It's super simple.
insecurity.
It's identity. It's how you see yourself. And so there's two things about identity. As you said, they're self-reinforcing. Identity comes from the actions you take and then how you see yourself. How you see yourself will influence the actions you take. The actions you take will influence how you see yourself. So on and so on. So ultimately, the only reason, there's a bunch of micro reasons because of this reason that you sabotage yourself is because of how you see yourself. Every action you take, every action is in alignment with an identity you hold. And so the easiest and frankly the best way, and ultimately the only way, because everything is tied to it, to grow your life, grow yourself, which is really just to return back to who you are, your true life, your true self, your confidence, etc., is to just change how you see yourself or release the bad ways you see yourself. Sometimes people go more action-based side first, and then how they see themselves will change. Oh, I'm gonna skydive. Now I see myself as a courageous person. Or, oh, I'm going to remember this courageous thing I did from 2 years ago. Like an example for me is I dropped out of college while I did something terrifying. I can do something else that's terrifying because I survived the first terrifying thing. And then they change their actions. So there's no right or wrong way, but those are the only two ways. So that's the first thing I want to share with you. And then the second thing I want to ask you, you said you use the word chakras. I'm a very spiritual person, so I want to ask you this question. What was your favorite color as a child?
Blue.
Okay, what is your favorite color now?
Blue.
Oh my God, I love this. All right, favorite color now is blue. Your favorite color as a child is a chakra that you are naturally best at, so to speak.
Yeah.
Your favorite color now is a chakra that you need to work the most on to realize who you really are and your full potential.
Is it not aligned with the throat chakra?
That is blue.
You want to hear something crazy?
Of course we do, yeah.
Over the course of it happened within a certain period of time, but it was drawn out over several years. I'm really the last person to like believe in this type of stuff at all, but I received 3 stones in a certain sequence over time, like gemstones, from 3 different sources. One was even like metaphysical. First one was somebody posthumously who's no longer with us came to somebody else in a dream and told to gift me a piece of labradorite to kind of keep me safe on my journeys, is what this person told this person in their dream. So I woke up in their house, and the next morning they gave me this stone. And then this really beautiful woman in Portugal gave me a piece of red garnet, which is red and associated with the root chakra. And then later on, like somewhere in some mountain somewhere, I found like buried in the ground this piece of somebody had obviously discarded years ago, I think, like this piece of rose quartz that was buried in the ground. And it seemed that as I was encountering these stones, it just seemed so like uncanny, the symbolism and their purpose. And it probably wasn't until I got the second and the third one that I looked back and thought to myself, okay, labradorite, throat, garnet, root, rose, heart. I don't know how you talk about the root chakra. My mind always goes to a certain place when I think about the root chakra, but I think it's, just the most basic, like heaviest energy, foundational, of course.
Identity, it's I am.
And then the rose quartz, of course, the heart, meaning, self-love. And it was just weird. I just feel like life kind of put those into my life, and I never gave any concern about rocks or gems or chakras or anything, but then it was like these things just welcomed themselves into my life. Especially
Will often be that way.
The first one, where it was like, how could someone be communicating to me through somebody else's dream state to give me a physical token of like guardianship? Yeah. It was just like the trippiest thing ever. So I have these, and I think to myself all the time that they're associated with like the root of what there is for me to work on. Obviously, they're just 3 of 6 or 7, but I feel like there's something there that I need to be thinking about consistently.
You said rose quartz, self-love, right? Have you ever heard the phrase, you probably have, everything is one? The ultimate form of self-love is selflessness. And it's not self-sacrifice. That's not necessarily selflessness. That can come from a selfish place. Self-martyrdom, so I look good, blah, blah, blah. True self-love is using your gifts and contributing them and sharing them with the world, because you're essentially showing creator, source, God, universe, whatever you believe in, your appreciation for these gifts and your willingness and openness to essentially share these gifts. You're essentially saying, thank you for my purpose. I'm going to apply it. It's beyond what the mind and beyond how you currently are choosing to see yourself. Like in my opinion, you can disagree, of course. I don't want to throw this on you. The best version of you is like just open, playing guitar. Maybe if you play another instrument, just like sharing. You said people naturally gravitate to you. Those were your words, not mine. There's this quote I love: "Your gift will make room for you." People are already coming to you. It's like the universe is trying to show you, like, dude, keep doing it, man. Like, I'm giving you people because I want you to impact their day positive. Just take that little step beyond that self-inflicting comfort zone you've put yourself in and just share yourself with the world. Like, you have such this beautiful energy. You have such this openness. Just be proactive in sharing it.
Yeah. I guess it's always been kind of an intimidating thing,
But that's the thing. Who is it intimidating to? What version of you is intimidated by it? When you say that, you're choosing to see some form of yourself. Are you choosing to say, it's intimidating to my highest self, or it's intimidating to this small self that I think I am?
Yeah, for sure. And especially just coming, when it comes to, things like less natural or secondhand or second nature as like guitar, which is just something that comes secondhand. And but when it comes to other things that are less easy to put your finger on, like why don't you write something and self-publish it, or why don't you record an album? Even in the more like less easy to put our finger on ways, there's still kind of a fundamental thing of like, how do I just get up and share on a daily basis? Like,
You want the Can I give you the
even
answer?
just like going on a walk. Like if you're choosing to hide and then you opt for a walk instead of hiding, so to speak, it's just very freeing in that way. And then there's little things like a chess club, a running club. Maybe someone would like to hear me at an open mic. And that's just my little ways of like tiptoeing into it. But as far as like endeavors of like really, really sharing, like, I don't know, just like going to that Toastmasters club and like just like totally bombing or something like that, something of that construct that's really difficult, or truly putting yourself out there in those frictiony ways. Yeah, it's
There's this thing I used to love saying to people. If I picked you up with magical hands, put you on a stage in front of 30,000 people, and you had to speak for 30 minutes about something, anything you want, with no preparation, zero, what would you speak about? I really feel the answer for you is like artistic expression or guitar or music or something of that.
You're asking me what is the subject of my 30,000 person TED Talk?
I think, yeah, pretty much. I think that would be it. And is that you don't have to entertain, you don't have to educate. It's basically just something that lights you up.
The other thing is the question of what do I have like it's hard to place yourself as the arbiter of like I'm the person to be sharing X, to the world.
I think that's a logical fallacy. It's not the person. It is I am my own unique person who has the gifts that other people also may have. Like you are a special snowflake. You're also not. There's other people who can play the guitar too. They'll play it in different ways though, right? And I think like when the mind tries to think about I'm the person, it's such an isolating thing, as you said earlier. Like I'm the one and the only person who knows this. I'm the only one who's able to deal with these unique issues I have. Like, no, actually. Like there are so many other people who have insecurities, who don't want to put themselves out there, who are doing things that scare the shit out of them every day or some days like you are. Do you know what the word references mean?
References.
Yes.
Yeah, in general, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to apply that to identity. And I want to ask you, I want you to share, what are 5 references, so moments, experiences that you can look at and reference that will show you this is who I am. I'll give you just a little more like help with this. I think, I could be wrong, you want to see yourself as someone who is confident, as someone who is maybe musical or someone who is artistic. What experiences from your past can you look at and reference and say, I did that, therefore I am an artistic person, or therefore I am a selfless person, or therefore I am a confident person. My own example, just one, I walked across 2,000 degree fire for about 30 meters. So I'm someone who does hard things. That's just an example. So 5 examples. First of all, who do you want to be? So part 1 of the question. Part 2, what are 5 references that support and that literally give you evidence that you are already that person?
How do I want to see myself? Someone who is very interested like in embodying self-mastery in certain areas.
Okay.
And growing in this way and kind of cultivating that permission to ascend.
Okay, what are 5 references for that identity, that person?
Yeah, it's funny because I can think back on things that really kind of could serve as like the building blocks or like references in my life that are symbolic of who I am and what I want to become. From a very young age, I was like just running and working out kind of like voraciously.
I just had deja vu with this that was crazy. Okay, keep going.
I through hiked like the Appalachian Trail. I think that was kind of a chapter in my life that had to do with like poising myself to really meet something head on and stick with it.
That's huge.
I've also run several like ultra marathons. I hope to do more through hiking and put more ultra marathons on the calendar. Drove, for like 6 months all the way around the country and all up into Canada. I coordinated several workaways in Europe and have probably spent cumulatively a year and a half in Europe just doing workaways and walking around on foot and sleeping outside and doing all sorts of stuff. Got out of Richmond and decided I was going to try to make a life in New York, I guess.
Oh yeah, dude. You are. I would say you are. First of all, thank you for sharing those references. You are genuinely someone who has done a fuck ton, which is so cool to be having a conversation with you, man. So thank you. You mentioned earlier sleeping dreams, and 30 seconds ago I had a deja vu. So I want to tell you about one of my sleeping dreams and just the intention that it will unlock whatever is meant to unlock for you. When I was 6 years old, I had a sleeping dream of a woman in a green bikini crossing from her boat onto my father's boat, holding a red Solo cup. I saw like from her knees, maybe like top part of her legs up to like her shoulders. Didn't really think much of it, whatever. 6 months later, that exact scenario happened in real life. And I still remember her in the green bikini holding a red Solo cup, walking to my dad's boat. And when I saw her, I was like, that's crazy. That was my first ever deja vu where I experienced a moment in time before it actually happened. So when people tell you, when you tell you, when life tells you that life is just a certain way, it's always more than it seems. When you tell you that I have to be the certain way because of XYZ excuse or reason or validating whatever is in your head, it's not true. Like beyond all this, beyond all of what the mind labels things as, labels yourself as, you are so much more. You are so much more powerful than any little insecurity. Just believe in yourself and share your gifts with the world. It needs it. Like so much more than you could ever realize. So much more.
I've heard this before, yeah. Yeah.
You're going to keep hearing it until you do it. Speaking, the universe will poke you, slap you, throw you against the wall until you wake up and realize, like, this is who I'm meant to be.
I've heard this over and over again. Sometimes it is kind of like intimidating in life that it seems kind of like a do or die scenario. You know, it's just like, am I going to hide away forever or am I going to like learn how to share? It kind of seems like it's either one or the other.
Oh, definitely.
And you know, choosing the latter is easier said than done, but hopefully like you don't, you know, the idea is not to just squander the opportunity, you know. But it really is like a calling. It's hard to live up to the calling of that, you know.
I agree. It's really fucking hard. It's harder to go to bed, very hard. But it is harder to go to bed at night knowing, so deeply knowing that for the last year or 2 years or 5 years, you have known what you know you want to do and need to do and should do, and ultimately just haven't done. And it's going to stay with you. It's going to be with you until you do it. It's really hard, dude. The regret you feel and the pain and the suffering and the isolation of not being connected to yourself and humanity versus the temporary fear that you step outside of in order to embrace your calling. In short term, they may compare. In long term, they are so far apart in terms of emotional pain. So I want to share that with you. But dude, I have really appreciated this conversation with you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for opening up. Can you play like a 30-second, 2-minute long little free flow for us?
Sure.
You open to it? appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I appreciate your openness, dude. It's hard to be open sometimes.
Well,
I do. I want to ask you one more question, actually. If you, from 5 years in the future, were here instead of me talking to you, what is the one thing he would tell you? What's the one thing you need to hear from you, from your higher self?
man, I would give myself a hug, and I would just be like, dude, man, like, I know it hurts, but you gotta do it for the reasons that you've already stated.
Sometimes you just got to do it for you too.
I mean, man, I would slap the 5 years, 10 years younger version of me. I would definitely slap that dude around a little bit and then give him a hug. So I can only imagine that the future 5-year version of me would come back now and be like, dude, come on, man. You're doing great, but come on, dude.
I love that, dude.
I don't know, a little tough love and a little like consolation at the same time. I don't know.
That's beautiful. All right. Thank you, man. Can I give you a hug before we go?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nice to meet you.
You too. Come here.
Yeah.
All right, that is it for the 4th episode of Street Coaching, my friend. If you want little help, just like Andrew today, you can apply for one-on-one coaching with me. I'm opening up a couple spots for a very short amount of time. Or if you want to join a lower cost community that literally costs less than the blueberry muffin and an iced latte, you can join it. Both of the links are down below in the description. Either way, my friend, I love you. I appreciate you. Subscribe to join us in this journey of helping as many young men as we possibly can. And as always, have an amazing rest of your day and continue to be unexpected. Peace.